गुड इवनिंग। वो आपको जो है आपने रजिस्टर किया माइक्रोसॉफ्ट टीम्स में? यूजर आईडी में जाके यूजर आईडी क्रिएट करना है पहले, उसके बाद ही आप लॉग इन कर पाएंगे। ठीक है, राइट।
Apologies, there was a finance call, so I just had to take it on link, the Skype for Business. So
No problem. We're just starting off in a couple of minutes. Right?
Sure, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. We'll be starting the program in a few minutes. Please note that there will be a feedback form shown at the end of the webinar. Please do fill out the feedback form to get your certificate of participation. You can type in your questions in the question and answer chat box, and we'll try to take up as many questions as possible and present it to the panelist. Please do write your name along with the question so that we know. Thank you. Pariniti ma'am is joining in just a minute. There was some technical glitch. She's just sorting it out, and she's coming online. And once she's here, we'll start the event. Thank you for your patience. Ma'am, you have to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Right. Are we good to go?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hello and good evening. Thank you to everyone for joining in on this virtual platform. On behalf of GD Goenka Public School, Siliguri, I welcome you to this webinar with an eminent team of panelists to put forward and share their valuable inputs on opportunities in the COVID era. At the outset, I would like to thank the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, ACCA, for collaborating with us on this very pertinent topic. When the entire society, the economy came to a standstill, education was the first sector to be impacted and schools were the first ones to be locked down. But that brought in a large community of children, youth, teachers, parents all together who were actively engaged in the educational ecosystem, and online education came to the rescue. This COVID-19 pandemic has left everybody disturbed, closeted within four walls, and much has been talked about, discussed, and deliberated about what is COVID, how it has impacted the economy, and so on and so forth. Perhaps India is going to emerge as a country with a positive GDP growth, while some others may see a negative slope. Now times are such that we are going through a shift in our mindsets as the current situation has taken a toll on everybody. So a capacity building for everybody has become essential as to show how one may take advantage of this COVID era for studies and career opportunities. Therefore, this is an attempt by the school through this webinar today to bring together stalwarts in education to discuss the whats and the hows of opportunities that lie in wait during these very unpredictable times. To hear more and to learn more, I would now like to take this opportunity to welcome our esteemed panelists. We have with us Mr. Ranjit Verma, Head of Partnerships, ACCA, with headquarters in UK, and Mr. Krishan Mishra, Head of North and East India. Welcome, both of you, sir. We also have Mr. Pratik Priyadarshi, Associate Professor of Birla Institute of Management Technology. Welcome, sir. And we have one of the youngest ACCA affiliates, Ms. Tashwita Gupta. Welcome. Of course, I must mention Mr. N. Muralidharan, who is Pro Vice Chairman of Delhi Public School, CHAS Pokhara, who will be moderating this session for us. I request you, therefore, Mr. Muralidharan, to please take over this session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Pariniti ma'am, for that wonderful welcome and setting the tone for the evening. Good evening, everybody. At the outset, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to GD Goenka School, Siliguri, for hosting today's webinar. We have overwhelming response to this event, and I'm thankful to each of you for taking your time to attend this event. I'll begin with the idea of hosting this event. What is the purpose of this event? As you're aware, as ma'am rightly pointed out, there is a lot of gloom and there is a lot of negativity that was created by the pandemic. We are fighting and we are trying to overcome that. So we want to build some positive vibes in this situation. We want to talk about making best of the situation. We want to discuss about the new opportunities that can be availed in this time. So today we will be interacting with industry leaders on career and study opportunities that you can avail in this pandemic time. We are going to have eminent panelists joining us today on the show, as ma'am already introduced. And remember, they are as excited to take your questions. Please type your questions in the question and answer chat box. We will try to pick as many questions as possible to present before the panelists. Please do type in your name along with the question. Before we begin with our first panelist, we would like our audience to know that you will be awarded a certificate of participation. To get the certificate, you need to fill the feedback form, link to which we'll be displaying at the end of this program. Stay tuned and look forward to an exciting evening. Now, I would like to welcome the first panelist for today, Mr. Pratik Priyadarshi. Sir, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
Pratik, sir, you have been actively involved with developing curriculum and leading from the front in implementing new courses. Can you please explain to our young audience here how fortunate they are in terms of having commerce stream as their career choice?
You are absolutely correct. The best thing about this particular age group is that they would not understand whether or not they are fortunate till 5 years down the line, and then they'll suddenly look back and say, my God, we were lucky at that time. You see, before I get into this entire thing, can you tell me what exactly is common between Lakshmi Mittal, Arun Jaitley, Mr. Gopal Vittal, the CEO of Airtel, or maybe Piyush Goyal? These people are absolute exceptions in their own fields. Lakshmi Mittal is a business tycoon, multimillionaire many times. Gopal Vittal is CEO of Airtel. Piyush Goyal and the late Arun Jaitley. The common thread going across them that all of these people were Bachelor of Commerce students. Now, there are many doubting Thomases, who ask this question. Commerce to yaar wahi log lete hain jo padhne mein achhe nahi hote hain. Now, please tell me if any one of the names that I have mentioned to you, did they not achieve whatever they wanted in their life? These are all stories, believe me. Jo padhai mein bachcha acha nahi hota, commerce leta hai. Gone are the days. People are willingly asking for this particular subject because this is one area where you get to control the entire finances. Now, believe me, all these people who the names I have mentioned out to you, just imagine a situation where Mr. Lakshmi Mittal was being sidelined by his accounts officer. Why? Because Mr. Lakshmi Mittal could not understand the accounting procedures. So basically the idea is that this is a subject which is at the root of all the developments that I personally feel is there for you. And therefore, from that perspective, you guys are fortunate. Believe me, that's how it is. Sir.
Right. So, Pratik sir, what I would like to know is, so there are so many choices that a science student has when they complete the school. Can you highlight the options that are available to commerce students as on date? I mean, at least the top 5 or top 10 career choices that the commerce students can go for.
Somehow this is a misnomer that commerce students do not have enough options. When you start looking at the options that we feel that these students have, for instance, maybe economics, you become a statistician, you become a business analyst, you become a risk management professional, insurance underwriters, actuarial sciences, management, finance, retail, sports management, that kind of thing. If nothing else, you can at least go in for your MCOM, you become a CA, CS, entrepreneurship. I personally feel that there are n number of opportunities there, but the point that is important is that you should be willing to do one, and believe me, unlike and I have no qualms about talking something which could probably hurt certain people sitting here, because some of us, including me, I come from a science background. But believe me, there are occasions during my service career when I actually sat down with people who had accounts background to learn. Why? Because when I was commanding an office, I wanted nobody to fool me around as far as finances was concerned. And I regretted not having gone through the basics at the initial stage of my career. So there are n number of opportunities there. And as and when you start looking at options, the first and foremost that comes to my mind is, if you keep on going on with the commerce higher education as well, for instance, MCOM, the first thing that comes to my mind is you go in for a chartered accountantship, go in for a company secretaryship, and these are specialized jobs, believe me, and the moolah is good there, money is good.
Right, that's a very rightly put, Pratik sir. And but then you were mentioning that the first that came out when you said that you took help, you were speaking about accounts teacher. You were talking about finance. You said that, but you don't want anybody to take you for granted. So the finance and accountancy seems to play a very crucial role in the success of an organization also. So does this mean the students can aspire to grow better in the field of finance and accountancy?
Uh, uh, you know, have you heard of a gentleman called Mangalam Birdla, sir? Who has not heard of him? Kumar Mangalam Birdla. We all know.
Right.
People like him sitting at the helm of affairs. Now, we are told that he spends approximately 45 to 50 minutes every day going through the book of accounts. Of course, it's online there. But if someone's sitting at that level goes through his book of accounts, and mind you, he must be having the best of people in the accounts team as such. बट अगर वो शख्स 45 से 50 मिनट अपना टाइम लगाता है अकाउंट समझने में, जानने में, I see no reason why any other CEO or CXO shouldn't be doing it. See, at the end of the day, it sounds very good, when we get to hear that, okay, this startup company has been sold for $300 million, sounds very good, sir, and I have nothing against it. But the fact remains that the money that is coming in has to be accounted for. One has to go in for the valuation of it. And these are all statistical, commercial accountancy procedures, and that is very specialized. So I personally believe that all these CEOs and CXOs, they have to be really good at these fields. Otherwise, I have my doubts if the valuation could be as accurate as what Kumar Mangalam Birdla would have wanted, sir.
Right. Oh, wonderful. So, Pratik sir, now I understand that you have, in association with ACCA, have launched a program in BIMTech in your institute, Birla Institute of Management Technology. So, can you just give us a brief about what that program is all about, and why did you choose to launch this program?
At times, certain people, particularly students who are already well placed in their jobs, middle management managers, they come back to us and they have this feeling that they have not got their due from the society or from the organization or the corporate world. And why have they not got their dues? Because they lack the management skills, the managerial qualities are missing. What happens is a young student at the age of probably, in a class of probably 10th or 11th or 12th, he devotes his time for commerce backgrounds studies, he goes into accountancy, and by the age of 22, 23, he's a successful accountant, Now, then what happens? He's involved into it, and somewhere down the line, people like him, they lose track of the management skills, the managerial qualities, So keeping those people in mind, people who have actually started working, people who are already a part of the ACCA, we agreed with ACCA to start off a joint certification program wherein the ACCA courses would be taught, and we would do our bit by providing the papers of the management. So as at the end of the 15 months, and this is a 15-month course approved by the AICTE, that is the Ministry of now Ministry of Education, I should say, and not HRD anymore. So it has been approved by the government also. So after 15 months, they would be entitled to a joint certification, a joint document, which will confirm that they are the associates of ACCA as also an PG diploma in executive management from BIMTech as such, The basic idea was to ensure that any and every individual who has an accounts or a commerce background should be provided this particular course so that they can take forward their own ambitions ahead, sir.
Right. So, Pratik sir, just to understand, because sounds very interesting. So this kind of association with ACCA and the kind of course that you have designed, is this available across the India in other institutes also?
No, sir.
The kind of curriculum that you have launched.
I mean, and honestly speaking, I'm grateful that you asked this question because I didn't want to, blow my own trumpet, but the fact is that we are the only institution in the country to have tied up with ACCA for such a course. And so from that perspective, yes, this is going to be a unique presentation, sir.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Pratik sir. We will come back to you. I'll just like to take get all the other panelists also on the screen, and then we'll come back to you on our next question. So for the next panelist, we have Tashvita Gupta, who is one of the world's youngest affiliate, ACCA affiliate. Tashvita, you are one of the world's youngest affiliate. So before I proceed with asking you questions, I would like you to tell us how old are you?
Sir, right now I'm 19 years old. I just turned 19 last month.
Oh, You turned 19 last month. Okay, great. So when did you start your journey of becoming an ACC affiliate?
I started it back in 2017. I entered ACCA through the FIA route, the diploma route, and that was in like my 11th grade. I started with it, and I gave my first 3 exams in my 11th grade, and then suddenly in my 12th grade, I had those, things, people coming around and telling you, okay, you have to go to Sri Ram, you are a bright kid, start studying for the 12th and all, and stop this ACCA. So that was the time I did take a break of like around 6 months. So that was the time where I must have qualified maybe at the age of 17, but I took that a gap of 6 months. And then I continued with my journey. So I got my official entry into ACCA after FIA. That was in 2018. So that was my official start of ACCA after FIA diploma.
Right.
And
Right.
so that's how I started.
Okay. So Tashvita, what inspired you to embark on this career in finance?
Well, as Prateek sir stated, I felt like when I was in my 9th grade, I'm from ICSE board, so we have a choice between economics and sciences in the 9th itself. So I
Right.
opted for economics and maths. And then again, I always didn't make a good decision at the first instance. I did science for the first 2 weeks. I went for the tuition. I wasted the money of my parents. I don't know why. So I took the tuitions for sciences for 2 weeks, and then I realized that, okay, why shouldn't I give try to economics? Just because people are saying that science is important and it's basic, you should have knowledge of it. Why I'm not giving it a try to the economics sector also? So that was when I just went to my mom. She has done MPhil in economics. So I just asked her, like, how does the subject looks like? Can you just give me a debrief? So she told me about those demand and supply, and I felt like this is practical. What I am doing in those, sciences that I don't find somewhere like daily in my life. This thing like demand, supply, okay, I know when the price increases, I deem to demand less. So that is so practical. So I felt interested in that subject area. So I opted for economics. And then when I passed my 10th, I got good score, and that was 95. So then again, pressure came up that, okay, now you have to go for arts, because people who get 95, they should go for public services, they should go for IAS exams and all. So that was a pressure on me. Again, me being a kid, I was so casual about it. And I said, okay, let's do arts then. Then I got into arts for 1 week. So that's the funny part. Yeah.
Okay.
So I
So
got into arts.
Yeah, you're a true all-rounder. You have done science, you have done arts, and then you have done your commerce also.
Yeah.
Great.
So I didn't choose commerce at the first instance. I was very, then I went for that history class, and I remember that was so boring. And that I think it was political science. I don't even remember the exact name. And I said, I can't do this. I can do IS even after commerce, but I can't do this political science. Please take it away. So then my dad was a guest faculty in income tax department, and he was taking lectures there. So one day there was no one at home, and dad said, chalo, we'll go along, and come along with me. So I went to that lecture. I had no introduction to accountancy yet. I had introduction to economics, but not to accountancy. So he said, okay, just I was sitting, I was there for the, that I'll get snacks there, and okay, I'll go. So and then he started telling about the debits and the credits, and it was so interesting. Like, that was so magical. It was fitting around the journal entries. And right now I am an art student, but when I go back to home, I asked my dad to ask me journal entries. He said, why you are not connected to accountancy? I said, no, please ask me. It was so interesting. It's like a puzzle. So whenever I met him, I said, hey, journal entry please. So he used to ask me a journal entry. So that was how I developed interest in accountancy, and I came to know that it is my true, interest, and I wanted to pursue it further. And as sir said, when I started my ACCA journey, I was side by side working with my father. He's doing practice. He's a tax consultant. So I was filing the returns and everything, and I was looking into the books of accounts as sir stated. So I realized that even a successful entrepreneur is so much concerned about his books. So he wants to know even where is that, rupee 100 is going. So I used to get scolded that why didn't you just post that invoice even though it is for just 100 rupees. So it affects their profit, and I used to observe that how the client calls up and he asks for what is happening with his accounts. So yeah, this
Yeah,
encouraged.
Okay. Right. Okay. That's a wonderful journey that you have had, Tashvita. So now, as you said that your father is a guest faculty, and he also takes care of income tax
Yeah.
thing. So, so your father is a CMA, if I'm not wrong. Is that right? Yeah.
Right.
So your father being a CMA, and you had a lot of advisors around you who were telling you what stream you should choose, what subject you should choose. So how come you chose to enroll in ACCA and not any other course? Even in finance and accounts, you have got so many options.
Yeah, I'll just find this question very interesting. Now,
Mhm.
just look at me standing in my 11th grade. I had two options. Either I'll do normal BCom and I will fight like anything for that Delhi University fame, and I will do maybe chartered accountancy. But then when I asked people, like I always wanted to research like what is happening around me. So I asked people that what do we do after BCom? Why Shri Ram? So why not any other college? Why it's so prestigious? So they said you get a BCom. Then I said I also get a BCom from here also. Then why just there is so much haze about Shri Ram? So then I came to know that it's just that you get an exposure and they have good placements and they have a quality study, but at the end you just get a BCom. It's BCom which you're getting, right?
Right.
The final product is BCom. So that kind of tricked me, and I said, okay, what if I'm not able to make to Shri Ram? Because I had many of my friends, my seniors, who got stuck at 95, who were even getting 97%, and then also they weren't able to go to Shri Ram. So then what? We can't just stand there and feel like, oh, now what to do? We can't be clueless in our career.
Right.
So
Right.
what I did was that, okay, about ACCA now, my dad told me that there are two choices. Either you can do the CA after your, you can start your CA after your 12th, or you can just do a normal BCom, or you can go for CMA CS. Now, when I thought about this, and then dad told me that there's one new budding course of ACCA where you have international reporting standards, accounting standards, and due to globalization, which is very much visible now, right? So even Google and Reliance are right now into the negotiation. So I believe that okay, that was something which I should do because it is international, because I always wanted to do something which is a wider scope rather than being involved in the local clients. Like, right, they're a shopkeeper and you're maintaining their books of accounts. So that is kind of a narrow idea. And then I had two choices, then CA and ACCA. Now, the difference is that by the time I could have, got eligible to start CA, there's a possibility I could have completed ACCA. So, right, because we can enter ACC after our 10th grade through FIA.
Right.
So that was a smart choice, I guess, because obviously, even if I felt at any point in time that, okay, ACCA was a wrong decision, though I never felt it till this date, I can't think of any other good qualification I would have opted for. And, but as a beginner, that was a thing that even if I feel that, okay, I'm not able to do it, or this is not a good qualification, I will drop, I will do CA after my 12th grade. But till 12th, why just to waste some time and, chilling around the tuitions and stuff. So I said, okay, I'll go for something which is productive. And I started with ACCA. And then from then till here, I realized this thing that ACCA is so comfortable. You can give your exams as per your, choice. There's nothing like, okay, you have to give in groups. right? I can, if I'm at any time, I had my school exams, my September exams, so unit tests and all. So I used to just opt for one exam for that quarter, and I used to manage it accordingly. And I had told my school people that, okay, I'm doing this course, so, and if any time my time clashes with you, you just allow me for that I can give exam a day after or before, because that was not a board matter. So yeah, all of these things
Okay.
encouraged me.
Right. Okay, Tashvita, now this intrigues me. So, did enrolling in ACCA at the school level, did it affect your board performance? Or rather, we would ask you a direct question. How much did you score in your class 12 board?
I scored 95.6%
Okay.
in my
So I
12th, and yeah.
And so I suppose that answers my question. So it did not really affect your board performance. So did it help? So did it help you?
Totally. I won't mislead you by saying that the syllabus is same. No, syllabus is a way higher in ACCA. But in the first 3 exams which we do, that is more or less like 11th and 12th.
Mhm.
And when you're doing ACC exam, such a international qualification, professional qualifications, and then you have some pressure build up on you. And when you deal with that pressure, then board pressure feels like, okay, it's fine, I can do it. So that is the thing which helped me. And then I developed confidence while doing my ACCA. So +2 and 12th was like, okay, this was okayish. Every of my friend used to ask me, you were so casual about 12th. I said, I have dealt with much more things. This is not you
Right.
can say.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Kashmita, we'll come back to you
Okay.
because we have been talking about ACCI. So I think we need to bring in our third panelist who is joining us from London right now. Ren, welcome to the show. Welcome. How are you? You have to unmute yourself.
I think I was on mute.
Yeah,
Thank you, Murli. I'm doing very well. Thank you so much.
So Ren, I understand that you are just back from a holiday.
Absolutely.
So and we are here locked up in our houses, and you are roaming around Europe. So how is the situation out there?
Well, I just came back from Prague last week, and it was things. I was surprised. Things were back to normal there in Prague. Like, I mean, things are working normal. You don't have to, and the situation is totally under control. So it was quite and comparatively much less number of tourists because of the COVID fears, probably. Like, so it was good. And
so it was a very enjoyable trip for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
Great.
things are getting back normal in London as well, UK.
Oh, great. So have the schools opened there in London?
So schools opened in July, but not for all the classes, just 1 or 2 classes with social distancing measures. But currently we've got summer vacation here, and schools would be reopening in September like normal.
Great. Ren, we had our earlier panelist, Tashvita, who was explaining about why she chose ACCA over and about the other career options that she had. You being at a senior position in ACCA, can you please help our young audience here to understand what ACCA is all about?
Sure, definitely. Thank you. I mean, it was wonderful hearing to Tashvita, and I feel proud, when I see such, such a young age, she has achieved so much, and that was a wise decision. And so I'm so happy to be and proud to be representing the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, or ACCA. We are a 116-year-old global professional accountancy body that was established in the United Kingdom in the year 1904. And we are present in over 179 countries around the globe. We've got over 500,000 students studying the profession, studying this ACCA qualification at different levels. And we do have like over 2 lakh members spread across all these countries. And we work with over 7,400 global approved employers, right from Big Four to multinational companies, and many more companies in the India as well.
Right. So Ren, what is the recognition of this ACCA qualification across the world as such?
So ACCA qualification, as Tashvita rightly said, the dilemma she was in, like should she go for an international qualification, and she chose ACCA for that specific reason. So we have, as I said earlier, we are present in over 179 countries, and we have 17 joint exam partnerships and with national accounting bodies, accountancy bodies around the world, and so allows their trainees to qualify using the ACCA qualification structure. So we have also more than 90 global partnerships with accountancy bodies, international donor community. So if a student who completes ACCA qualification wants to work in UK or Ireland, or whether he wants to work in Singapore, Malaysia, or Middle East, the world is an oyster. It's recognized there.
Great. So, Ren, what is the kind of presence that you have in India?
So in India, so we had been present in India for the past, I would say 4 or 5 years, and we have 4 offices in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Bangalore. So in India, we work with over 97 plus highly reputable universities and colleges like Christ Universities, Xavier, Symbiosis, Nasi Monji. Now we, Prateek just said about BIMTech, Birla Institute. So to add to some of these reputable names, and we have got over nearly 40,000 students and members and affiliates together in this country.
Great, friends. So, I mean, I think on this note, I would like to welcome our 4th panelist today, Mr. Krishan Mishra. Welcome to the show, Krishan.
Yeah, thank you, Murli. Good evening, everyone.
Great. Kishan, can you please explain to us, because we have a young audience here, class 11th and 12th students primarily, and we have class 9 and 10 students also. So can you explain to the student audience here, how is ACCA relevant to them?
Okay, very interesting question, Murli. And so as Tashvita has already highlighted that how she actually started the ACCA journey at a very young age. Which is around 17, and by the time she was 18 and a half, she completed the entire qualification. Now, if you look at any youngster who wants to pursue any professional qualification in the world, he can do it after his +2 only, right? And that's what Tashvita also mentioned, that if you want to get into any professional course, you can do it after your 12th. However, with ACCA, the advantage is that somebody can start this qualification when he or she is in class 11th, and we have a live example sitting here. Right, so you can start in class 11th, complete your diploma as well as the rest of the qualification at an early age. So in fact, if you start at the age of 16, right, and you go by the normal course, then by the time you touch the age of 20, you can become a professional accountant, right? So I'm giving the maximum age wherein one can look at becoming a professional accountant, which means that you save 5 precious years of your life, because the average passing out age for a global professional accountant is 25. Right, so you save 5 years, right, and in 5 years you can do a lot of things. Like Tashvita is already doing an MSc in professional accountancy from University of London. In the similar way, students can actually look forward to doing that, start their career early, and actually look at retiring earlier in their lives. So that's the biggest advantage which comes. Yeah.
So you mean to say that I can start early, gain my promotions early, retire early, and roam the world for 5 extra years?
Definitely, yes, and choice is yours. In fact, what you will do is that you will be able to climb up the corporate ladder quicker than anyone else, because others will start after 5 years than you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Kishan, before we proceed with the next set of questions, I have one major question which concerns our audience here. The students being in class 11th and 12th, where they already have quite a bit of pressure in terms of the board examinations, upcoming board examinations, or the next year that they're going to be appearing. Do you think it is a right idea to enroll in a course when they are still studying in the school?
Great. So Tashvita has already told that it is a fantastic idea to start early. However, just to top it up, I would like to say that when they start early in the school, wherein they actually learn the foundations of accountancy. Practically, you learn financial accounting in your class 11. You also go through a subject called business studies, which is, we call it business and technology in ACCA. Previously, it was known as accountant in business. And then you study management accounting during your class 12, which is named as FA2 for the CBSE board students. Now, when you go through these 3 subjects, practically what happens is you are able to build your foundation during your school level itself. if you're able to build a stronger foundation, it becomes easier for you to go through the entire professional qualification. Because if you look at any professional qualification in this world, all the qualifications are difficult. None of the professional qualifications are easier. However, with ACCA, the advantage is that it's a very flexible qualification. As Tashvita said, that you could pick up one paper, prepare well for that paper, and move on to the next one. So every quarter you can prepare for one paper, pass, and move to the next paper. It makes your job much more easier, right? And the biggest advantage is that ACCA is completely hands-on, right? We give you activity-based learning, or we call it practical learning, right? We don't ask you theory questions in ACCA, which might be asked to you in your board examination. However, if you look at the new national education policy, it is also talking about hands-on learning or activity-based learning, which is definitely there, a part of the ACCA curriculum already, which means that when people do it at a younger age, they become more relevant and more work ready when they actually look forward to the corporate life.
Great. Kishan, before I ask you the next question, because you have been talking about finance and accountancy, can you explain exactly what are the different career options available for somebody pursuing a course in accountancy and finance?
Okay, so that's a very, very relevant question, Murli. In fact, not very relevant for class 11th and 12th students at this stage. However, right. I would like to define that what are the kind of opportunities which are there for them. So if you look at an individual who completes a professional accountancy course, in fact, they can actually look forward to joining an organization after completing their 9 papers only, because there are a lot of organizations who are hiring part qualified ACCAs and sponsoring their rest of the qualification, right? So the advantage here is that the students would be able to look forward to a career in the field of audit, which is a very much relevant sector nowadays because of the banking fiascos which have happened. People can look forward to making a career in the field of financial reporting, right? And financial reporting is something which is relevant to all of us, right? You talk about an industry, every industry needs people who understand financial reporting, right? Because IFRS has already come and we do not have many people who understand IFRS in India. So a lot of opportunities for people who understand IFRS. They can actually look forward to becoming a consultant. They can look forward to joining insurance, banking, financial services organizations, or maybe they can go ahead and work with the management consulting, etc. So many options there. Financial services as an area is producing a lot of opportunities in the times to come. In fact, if you look at the new age banks, you have public sector banks, you have foreign banks, you have private banks, and now you have small finance banks and payment banks, right? So many opportunities there. In fact, you have got around more than 50 life insurance and 50 plus general insurance companies in India now, wherein they need people who understand risk management. So a lot of opportunities in all these fields for people. Yeah.
Right. Kishan, before I take up the next question, which is a really very pertinent and important question, I have an announcement to make. This is for everybody attending the show today. Please do write your questions. We will be taking up your questions in the last half an hour. So we will be addressing the questions to the panelists. If you have a specific question to a panelist, you can mention their name also. And do mention your name when you are typing in the questions. And please do remember that we'll be showing you the feedback link at the end of this program. Once you fill out the feedback form, you'll be receiving a certificate of participation from us. Right. So Kishan, coming back, I understand, for a student, they have been in the school for 14 years now, a student who is in class 12th. And they are actually looking forward, dreaming about getting that freedom when they are able to go out of the school system, go into the college and enjoy the college life and get out of the school system. But then still there is an apprehension that exists in their minds in terms of how to get into a good college. As Tashvita rightly said, she had done a research and to find out whether how to get into different colleges and what is the advantage it is going to give. So will enrolling in ACCA course at the school level actually help with getting admission in a good college?
Okay. Very, very relevant question, Murli, again. And I think Ren has already given an answer to that, wherein he spoke about the 97 plus university tie-ups that we have in India. In fact, we have got a very large set of university tie-ups in Europe, in Australia, New Zealand, and various other parts of the world, including Middle East and rest of Asia. Now, students have an opportunity to actually look forward to pursuing an integrated course with the best of the universities which are available. To name a few, we have got tie-ups like Christ University, Symbiosis, Narsee Monjee Institute of Management Studies, Manipal, in Manipal as well as in Jaipur. Then we also work with Loyolas in Hyderabad and Chennai. We work with Bangalore University, so all the 650 colleges of Bangalore University are offering a BCom with ACCA. we have recently started this program for the Delhi University students also. So the opportunity is tremendous. People can look forward to going and joining the program there with these universities. And in fact, once they have completed their part qualification with ACCA, they can look forward to joining BIMTech and get a MBA from there, which is postgraduate program in management, because 9 people qualified ACCAs have an opportunity to pursue that PGPM course with Birla Institute of Management Technology. So opportunities are there. What I wanted to say here is that there are no reservations in this world. Only thing would be that they will have an advantage when they carry a diploma in hand, for sure.
Okay. So you are saying that, I mean, they will have some kind of an advantage if they have already completed their diploma while they are in the school.
That's right.
Then they go
for example,
Murli,
you are a class 12 student and you score say 95%, and say Tashvita has scored say 92, and Tashvita has done a diploma in accounting and business from ACCA, which is the FIA, which means that Tashvita would be preferred over you while she getting admission into the BCom or the BBA course with ACCA.
Right, understood. Although, I mean, it should be the other way around. Tashvita scored 95 and I scored 92, so therefore it's okay.
Right. So you can go for a diploma and then obviously increase your chances of getting into these universities. Yeah.
Right. So, Kishan, I'll just come back to you. I have a question here, Ren. I mean, assuming that because we have students who aspire to go abroad also, so will doing this diploma at the school level help me in studying abroad?
Absolutely, it'll definitely help. In fact, Tashvita was mentioning about doing that. She did the first three papers in school, and once she completes that, as Krishan has as well mentioned, the students would be getting a diploma in accounting and business, which is, as per the UK National Qualification Framework, is equivalent to the first year of a degree program. So students who are completing the diploma in accounting and business can move abroad, and they will get credits through accreditation of prior learning. So, and they can move abroad, continue with the ACCA qualification, or join for a degree with ACCA in any UK university or universities across Europe or Middle East or Singapore. So yes, the opportunities are tremendous for them. It actually helps them.
Okay, so Ren, speaking on this point, is there any difference between pursuing ACCA in India and pursuing ACCA in any other country? Because you said you're present in 179 countries. So I'd just like to know.
Absolutely no difference. A student pursuing ACCA from UK or India or Singapore or Canada, Australia, will be going through the same curriculum, exams, and will be awarded the same certificate or same qualification. Tashvita has got the same qualification that somebody who would have completed ACCA from UK.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
Only difference would be the change in names, you know. The certificate would be in Tashvita's name. Yeah.
Right, obviously, right, understood. So, Kishan, I have a question here because, see, normally the apprehension that we have is when you're talking about international qualification, there is a big cost tag attached to it, price tag attached to it. And so, which is a big deterrent factor in terms of pursuing an international qualification. So, how is it? I mean, and you have been talking about gaining a BSc degree or MSc degree from foreign. Like you said that you give a reference of Tashvita pursuing MSc from University of London. So is this not a costly affair?
I would say that it is not very expensive when it is compared to any other international qualification. What we have done is that we have made it more affordable. For example, somebody moving out of India and pursuing the same qualification, that person has to spend more. In fact, in our neighboring countries, people are supposed to pay more, right? Including Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh and all. For India, because India is obviously upcoming market, and India is one of the very, very important markets for ACCA. What we have done is that we have made it affordable in the sense that the costs have been reduced at various levels for the students. What we are doing is that we are offering them some scholarships. Obviously, they have to go through a test to achieve that scholarship and then move ahead. I'm sure in case they go and directly register with the website, they have to pay a higher fee. However, if they are going through the test and then joining the qualification, they will be paying a much lower fee. The other advantage is that if you compare it with any other, say, for example, an MBA from any C-grade colleges also in India, the price towards the ACCA qualification is much more lower than that. In fact, it is, I would say, 1/3 or 1/4 of what you pay for an MBA with a C-grade institute. The other thing is that when I spoke about BSc in Applied Accounting, BSc Honours in Applied Accounting from Oxford Brookes University, what a student has to do is after completing 9 papers of ACCA, they have to submit a dissertation report to Oxford Brookes University and a fee of £190, which is equivalent to 17,000 Indian rupees. And I don't think 17,000 is a very large amount for a Bachelor of Science Honours degree from Oxford Brookes University. And in fact, they can go ahead and join the convocation ceremony, which happens in Dubai, Singapore, and London. So, which means that the BSc, which is offered to a student who is in London, and the BSc a student would be doing in Siliguri, remains the same. So, there is no difference at all.
Okay.
Right? So that's the biggest advantage which comes. Yeah.
Great, wonderful. So now, because we have a lot of questions coming in, which we would like to take up with the panelists. So I'll to keep it short. Now, question: what kind of support can a student expect when they are pursuing FIA in the school?
So support not only in school, however, when we say that a student has joined ACCA, we practically make them alumni for life. So we are always there to support them and take care of them. In fact, we are a part of their career life cycle throughout their lives, as I mentioned. Now, when they join FIA, obviously they'll be provided with a lot of support in terms of teaching and learning in the schools, right? They will have an opportunity to learn online as well as some face-to-face sessions would be happening. We call it blended learning for them, right? So all those support would be provided through online education to all the students. In fact, we will be giving them some additional areas for support wherein they will be able to network with students who are not only in India, outside India also, right? They would also be able to see how the finance, accountancy, and the business per se is moving in the country as well as the world at large, right? So all those things would be coming in despite the other support of moving towards the best of the universities and then looking forward to the best of the employment for themselves in the long term.
Okay, that's great. So I think I have a question for Tashvita here. Tashvita, I understand that you did your 11th and 12th and you pursued ACCA also along with it. And I heard you also saying, and then Ren also referring and Kishan also referring that you are currently pursuing MSc from University of London. So
Yes,
did I hear correctly that you did your class 12th along with that ACCA and now you're doing your MSc? I think something is missing here. Where is the BSc that you need to do in between? What happened to that?
Yes, that is a question for me too. I don't know where's my bachelor's, but yeah, once you do ACCA, you're an affiliate, you get eligible to start with your master's. So that is again a funny point of my life that I am doing master's and I don't have a bachelor's yet. And the funnier point is that next year I'm planning to start with my PhD. Though I don't have a bachelor's yet. I am in my hopefully second year. We have not been promoted yet due to this COVID-19. So hopefully I'm in my second year of bachelor's. But yeah, that's how it is.
Okay. So when you say that you're in the second year of bachelor's, you have enrolled for a bachelor's degree in the Indian University.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Why did you enroll for an Indian qualification when you already had MSc from London University?
Well, see, they don't recognize MSc in India as such because it is a 1-year program, right? Because UK in education system and Indian education system is quite different. And the fact they do recognize for industries, like if you want to go for a job, then it's perfectly fine. But what my aim is teaching. So I am very much inclined towards the lecturing part. So that's the reason I wanted to do a PhD. And now through this master's, I can do a PhD from UK, but when I will do that PhD, that will be recognized in India. But this MSc, because it is 1 year.
Right. You're saying that, I mean, it will not be recognized for the purpose of entering UGC.
Yes, exactly.
Right? To teach as in a college, for that it is not recognized, but otherwise in the industry it is recognized as a master's degree, and for entry into PhD also it is recognized. Right?
Yes.
Is that
yeah.
right? Yes. Right. Okay. So Ren, I would like to understand here, can somebody pursue only ACCA without enrolling for graduation program? Because Tashvita, as a backup plan, she's enrolling because she wants to get into teaching. But is it possible, or can you give an example where a student is pursuing ACCA but not having a graduation at all?
Absolutely, that is we can do that, and just wanted to clarify as well. I mean, ACCA as a qualification, as per the UK National Qualifications Framework, it's equivalent to a master's degree. And when a student completes the first 9 papers, it's equivalent to a degree program, like it's a bachelor's honors degree. So technically, even though ACCA is a professional qualification, the equivalency is equal. I mean, after 9 papers, it's degree. After the complete qualification, it's equivalent to a master's program. Now, that's one of the reasons why you get exemptions in the rest of the papers. And we've got a typical example, like in India. So we've got one of the youngest directors at Grant Thornton, Jatin. I think Christian, if please correct me if I'm wrong, he became a associate director at the age of 27 or so. So he came through the FIA route, and he didn't go through he didn't take up a graduation, so he completed the ACCA. Yeah.
Oh, great. That's wonderful. So Ren, what would you say are the employment opportunity in India after completing ACCA? So you mentioned about 7,400 partnerships that you have with employers. So what is the kind of opportunity that exists in India as such?
So currently we are facing a problem. We are facing a challenge. The challenge here is that we've got more opportunities out there in the market. However, we don't have enough people to supply. So that's the challenge, which is a good challenge to have, a good problem to have. What I would like to say is that there are, Christian did mention about the different roles that an ACCA qualified professional can move into, or part qualified professional can move into. Students can work in multinational companies, Indian corporates, Big Four. So the opportunities are tremendous in India and abroad as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Ren, for that. Now I think we'll take up the audience question. So Kishan, the first question that we have for you coming up is that we know that in the current times, this is a question from Shantanu Bakat. He wants to know that everything is getting digitized. And still we are talking about accountancy and finance here. Do you think there is a scope in this field?
Okay. Shantanu, fantastic question, and I think very, very relevant considering the current situation. Now, ACCA has also digitized. So we are a 116 years young organization, started in the year 1904. Why we are young is because we deal with students like you who are passionate. We are also passionate, right? Who are innovative. We are also innovative. You're practical. We are also practical. You're looking forward to a career. We are here to support you for your career. Now, if you look at ACCA qualification, the entire qualification has been designed in such a way that when you go through the exams, all the exams are computer-based exams. So we do not have any pen and paper-based examination anymore with the ACCA qualification. In fact, for the first 4 papers, you will write the exam and you will also get the results on the spot in your system itself. So whatever digitization you're talking about, we have already done that long back, right? So we started as an accountancy body. I would say that moved to finance. Today we are talking about business leadership with technology and digital, right? So that's something which is already there in the heart of ACCA. In fact, when you are studying a paper called Business and Technology, which is similar to your business studies paper in class 11, wherein you'll study about planning, organizing, directing, controlling, budgeting type of companies, partnerships, and all those things. You will also study about artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data, which is really very much important as per the current requirements of the industry, right? You will also study about the same going forward when you do a paper called Strategic Business Leader. So digital is core to our heart. Don't worry, we are with you and with Times to support you in the long term too. Yeah.
Right. Kishan, there is a very interesting question where Kashish Saha wants to know if I complete my CA first and then go for ACCA, is there any disadvantage to it?
Okay, so Kashish, very relevant question, and again, a choice is yours. You can wait till the age of 25 and then start ACCA, or maybe you can become an ACCA by the time you're 19 or 20, as you can see Tashvita sitting in front of you. So ultimately, if you start early with ACCA qualification, you'll be able to do it earlier. I do not want to compare with the other qualifications. Without any comparisons, I can tell you that ACCA is a very flexible qualification. In fact, this opportunity cannot come in front of you if you are not +2 in other countries. If you want to do ACCA, you can do it after +2. India, we have given this opportunity for the first time, wherein we are coming to the schools and asking students to enroll for this program. So if you join early, you can finish it off earlier than anyone else. So that's the biggest advantage, Kashish, for you. So I leave it up to you to decide. So yeah.
Well, Kishan, keeping in mind that we have been talking about ACCA here, we have Anik Nandi, who is planning a career in banking. And so will pursuing ACCA or enrolling in diploma help him?
Anik, the question is very relevant. And if you have gone through what I mentioned during my initial discussion, that you have an opportunity in the banking, financial services and insurance industry. I spoke about the banks. You have public sector bank. Do you know there's a bank called State Bank of India, which has got more than 25,000 plus branches, right? And think about the number of people they require. They need people who understand financial reporting, and we don't have people. Right? They not only that, there are so many other banks, public sector, private sector, foreign, small finance banks and payment banks, NBFCs, non-banking finance companies, other than the insurance and the other companies. Now, there's a huge requirement for people who understand risk management. With ACCA, you can look forward to making a very strong career in the field of risk management, which is an upcoming area for everyone. In fact, if you look at audit or internal audits, I can quote an example wherein one of the largest private sector bank has recently hired at least 150 plus people who are professional accountants to take care of their internal audits, wherein you're not supposed to sign the balance sheets. However, you are just supposed to check that if everything is going well or not within the organization. So a lot of opportunities in the banking sector. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
Right. Kishan, we have a question from Chirag Bajoria, who wants to know that he has decided that he wants to do business. So he wants to know, like, what should he do? I mean, what course he should pursue? Will ACCA help?
Right. So Chirag, I'll quote an example here, and I'm sure you might have heard about, or you might be reading, or your parents might be reading a paper called Economic Times. Now, in the Economic Times last year, there was a survey which was done, and the survey said that 56% of the new CEOs, right, they come from finance and accountancy background, right? So 56% of the new CEOs are coming with finance and accountancy background. Why this happens? Because obviously that somebody who is talking about the top line for the organization is a person like me, who is a business development person. However, somebody who is doing a course like ACCA, like Tashvita, will actually talk about the bottom line, which is the profits for the organization. So chances of Tashvita taking over that position, which is of a CEO within that organization, is much more higher. And not only that, when you want to start your own enterprise, I can tell you that the first thing which you need, along with the idea, is capital. Right? And when you have gone through such kind of a program, which is professional accountancy kind of a course, you can very well go to a bank and ask for any kind of fund. You can go to a venture capitalist. They'll be more than happy to support you, because you're yourself a professional accountant. They know that not only you know how to acquire funds, but you know that how do you manage those funds in the long term. And then obviously the best advantage is, as Pratik sir was telling, that if you do this, you understand finance and accountancy yourself, and you are the entrepreneur of the organization, nobody would be able to fool you, because they know that my boss is already a professional accountant. I can't fool him. So a lot of advantages, and with this course, you'll be able to learn everything, as I mentioned: accountancy, finance, business leadership, technology, digital. So many things are there, which will actually make you a wholesome finance professional for the long term.
Okay, I have a couple of questions for Pratik sir. But before I go to Pratik sir, I have one question which has come down from Sarthak Agarwal. Sarthak wants to know, in brief, if you can explain what is FIA diploma.
Okay. So Sarthak, FIA is Foundations in Accountancy, and therein there are 3 papers that you need to complete, which you can do during your school days. You are already studying a paper called Financial Accounting, which is there in class 11, wherein you study about journal, ledger, trial balance, P&L account, balance sheet, all those things you study. And plus to that, now because financial IFRS has come, so people study about the statement of changes in equity, which is another report which is being prepared as per the IFRS requirements. So you'll be studying about these papers. The same thing is with us. So financial accounting is financial accounting anywhere in the world. It doesn't change. The only change or the difference between what you study in your school and what you're going to write in the examination is that you have to think and apply what you have learned in the classroom. That's it. If you're able to apply what your teachers have taught, you'll be able to do the ACC exams much better than anyone else. Right? So that's the first paper. Then you have a paper called Business and Technology. I have spoken about that. And then Management Accounting, which you study in class 12th, wherein you study about ratios, you study about cash flow, you study about fund flow statements, and so many other things which are related to the presentation and preparation of management reports in the long term. So all those things, whatever you're studying, is similar. I would not say that completely similar. However, there's a lot of similarity between what you study in your school and what is there in ACCA. the biggest thing that you will learn is that the application of the same, whatever you have learned in the classroom. So that's about the diploma. You do these 3 papers, write the exam, get the diploma, and then you can move towards the advanced diploma and then affiliateship of ACCA. Yeah.
Right. Before, there's a quick question for you, Kishan. A student wants to know, can he do ACCA while staying at home?
100%. All the students have a choice. If you don't want to move out of your home, you have a choice to do that. And ACCA is a very flexible qualification. It doesn't ask you to move out. In fact, the examinations are also conducted now remotely because of COVID, I'm saying. However, once COVID is gone, then obviously you might have to go to the center and write the examination. However, whenever difficult times are there, ACCA supports the students, and that's what is something which we have been doing now. And in fact, you can study at home and you can write the examination also at home in the current situation.
Kishan, did you say they can write examination at home?
Yes.
So I can have my books open when I'm giving the examination?
So if you open your books, Murli, then definitely you will fail.
Oh. Okay.
I'm not saying that cheating will fail you. It's practically that you'll spend so much time in just going through the books that you will definitely fail. Okay.
Right.
And then obviously there is an invigilator. It doesn't mean that, okay, you are sitting alone and you are just writing the exam. There is a remote proctored invigilator who is watching you. Right, and in case you do anything wrong, he can stop your examination then and there itself.
Right. Okay. Understood, Kishan. Pratik sir, can I? We have a couple of questions for you.
Yeah.
So Pratik sir, there is one question that Shivam Singh wants to know. What are the career opportunities available if he completes BBA and LLB?
Shivam, that's a difficult question that you are asking, because having the bachelor's of a management course and a legal background, I guess there are n number of opportunities that come your way, which you'd find it difficult to choose from. For instance, all I can tell you is that forget about other things. If you are a bachelor of management studies, we assume that you would know how to make correct decisions as far as financial management is concerned, as far as leadership is concerned, as far as business management is concerned. But then when you add the LLB part to it, I guess you have that legal flair to work on it. So any and every organization that works on the basis of finances or has a legal department involved in it, you are absolutely welcome there. Having said that, in such a situation, normally what people would do is that they would go in for an entrepreneurship kind of a thing, wherein you start off your own, maybe a legal firm, wherein when you are handling cases, you could also talk about the financial aspects also. Then there are n number of competitions, examinations are there to recruit people with either a legal background or a bachelor's of financial studies. But ideal combination would be if you could go in for an MBA and then a legal background, then the two add up to a decent kind of a situation there. But yes, it's an interesting combination.
Right. So there is one more question, Pratik sir, for you. There is a student who wants to start a factory when he grows up. So he wants to know what is the course that he should pursue now so that he can start a factory.
Very interesting. Actually, what happens is that the entrepreneurial skill is, or the streak, I should say, each one of us has that entrepreneurial streak amongst us. The only thing is that as you grow older, that streak starts declining. Earlier you take a call, earlier you decide to do such a thing is much better, because risk taking, that's it. It's all about, Having said that, if you want to plan off start off a factory, look at the nitty-gritties involved in it. You must first and foremost know what exactly do you plan to produce, manufacture, So let's say, I'm just giving you an example. Let's say a steel re-rolling mill, So you should know where the ingredients come from, number one, because you will need raw materials to start off that. You'd also need the entire financial background to work out the cost benefit analysis, because you must have inputs, the capital involved in it. You must also have a hierarchical organizational structure with a team of people who can handle it. People who are expert in their own fields, someone who's good at, let's say, chemical reactions. Why? Because there are certain chemical reactions involved here. Then people with financial background, people to audit the entire things, that kind of situation. So it's not a difficult proposition, except that I would suggest you should go in for some sort of a planned course wherein you get to understand all these nitty-gritties, and then probably you'll be in a better position to attract capital also, and then go in for entrepreneurship.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Pratik sir. Kishan, I have a few interesting questions coming up now. One is, can a science student opt for this diploma? Can he enroll for this diploma?
Okay. So ACCA doesn't differentiate between science, arts, or commerce. Anybody can do this. The advantage with a commerce student would be that he or she is already studying these subjects. For a science student, he or she needs to put in some extra efforts. Now, there are a lot of examples wherein science students have entered into this qualification and they have really done well. In fact, I know a lot of people, including myself, who was a science student initially and then entered into the management and accountancy field. So definitely there's an edge. If you're a science student, you can double it up with the ACCA qualification. Recently, KPMG hired 25 engineers who are doing ACCA right now. Right, from IIT Delhi, they have hired 25 engineers who are pursuing ACCA because they're going to work on financial analytics or the accounting analytics. Right, so definitely doors are open for everyone.
Right. I have a very interesting question from Divyanshu Agarwal for Ren, where Divyanshu wants to know that is it that only a CA will get better, he can acquire more capital or support from venture capitalists? Do you need to be a CA? Do you need to be a CA to get a better pitch and get a better capital? That's what he wants to know.
You don't need to be a chartered accountant per se to pitch better. But then, like when you're pitching to a venture VC, naturally your pitch would be much better, and the venture capitalist who is going to fund you would be much more confident. Okay, I'm funding to somebody who knows finance, who knows the basics, who has done his cost benefit analysis, who knows about risk. Yes, so in that way, there is an advantage, but end of the day, it all comes to what you want to raise the funds for. It all comes to your product, market, the opportunities, the return on investments, etc. But yes, it definitely helps.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Ren. We have a specific question for Kishan here. This is from Ringyal. Ringyal has a question that, do you think that civil servants should have some basic accounting knowledge to ensure that there is no embezzlement in their departmental finances?
Good question. And I think, Ringyal, I can tell you that, and this is something which I'm aware of. That's why, with my experience, I'm telling you that there is an academy for the civil servants in Mussoorie, near Dehradun, right? And all the civil servants, they need to go and take a training there. They have also introduced finance for non-finance professionals, so that these people, they understand what is there in finance and accounting. And as you have rightly mentioned, the word that embezzlement in their departmental finance is something which is really very important for them to understand. So that's why this is something which is already a part of their curriculum. They are being trained on this thing. However, that's a basic knowledge that they get. So definitely, this is something which the government has also understood is that important. In fact, I have seen people coming in from various ministries, not only from the ministries in India, but ministries of various other countries who come and do these finance and accounting courses, stay in campuses of various business schools for a period of say 1 or 2 months, and then they go back with a certificate because they have to go back and deliver on all these parameters. Yeah.
Great. Kishan, I have a question from a student who wants to know that if he completes this ACCA, does that mean that he can get a job in any company in the world?
Okay. Very, very important question. So person has not mentioned his name. So that's
no,
okay.
No, he has not mentioned his name. Yeah.
Okay. So I can tell you one interesting fact that accounting is a pervasive function. Okay. When you do accounts and finance courses, it's a pervasive function, which means that you will be required in any industry, in any company, in fact, any business. And if it is not a business, also you're required. So for example, a social organization, an NGO also needs an accountant, right? Or maybe your school, GD Goenka school also needs an accountant. So think about any industry or any organization or any business wherein an accountant is not required. And I'm sure you won't be able to answer me because there is no answer to it. Because accountant is required everywhere. So anybody can recruit you. The good thing is that with ACCA, you will be recruited by the best of the multinational organizations. You'll be recruited by the best of the Indian organizations. Right now, we have got, as Ren said, that we have got more jobs and less number of people to apply to those jobs. So you have a strong opportunity knocking your door.
Great. I have a very specific question for Tashvita. So Tashvita, the question is from Vani Agarwal, who wants to know, how did you manage your time?
Okay. Hi, Bani. First of all, see, the time management is up to you. Like ACCA exams have a set, date sheet. School is dynamic. Sometimes you have assignments, sometimes you have your unit tests and everything. But ACCA has quarterly exams, so I know at which date my exam will be placed. So according to that, like I used to, manage my time. I used to plan it out. Like I had my classes for my 11th and 12th accountancy. I kept my tuitions there. So I had to manage it. It is a tough job, but once you do it, you get to know that it was worth it. Because without doing the struggle, I can't think I would have completed this at this point in time. And the time management should be like I used to sometimes wake up at nights, also late nights I had to spend. And like I knew what is my timing for my tuitions. My all people around me knew that I was doing something and I needed time for it. So I used to tell them, like, be vocal about it, that I have my exam coming up and I need to study for that. So can you just adjust your time schedule according to this problem of mine? So that's how I used to manage my time. So the after my school and after my classes, the end part of the day was devoted to ACCA.
Right. Great. Thank you, Tashvita, for that. Pratik sir, there is a question. I think this is a question which many of the students have this problem. So I would like you to take this question up. So the question is, the student has not mentioned the name, but I'll just read out what he has written. He or she has written, I have no clear aim on what to pursue in terms of college course, let alone future employment. What are some courses that a budding student with no clear aim like me can pursue with flexibility? And also, if possible, how can I get rid of this aimlessness and indecisiveness?
That is, I guess that is the most interesting question of the entire evening,
Right, and I think he has taken the courage to ask this question. So I think we should appreciate that.
Sir, it requires a lot of courage to accept and admit a situation like this, and for that, kudos to the individual, he or she, whoever it is. I would just request that it would have been slightly better had he or she mentioned the name also, because once you accept that there is a problem, then we can work towards a solution. And that lady or a gentleman has actually accepted that there is a problem. First and foremost, at your level, probably in 10th or 12th, you would be doing a certain specified course as such, science, commerce, humanities, whatever it is. The idea is that you have to look for that particular niche subject or niche area that actually interests you. Now, I'm not talking only about subjects like science, commerce, and humanities. There are times when somebody gets interested in music, fine arts, painting, these are all abstract subjects. But then that is what the life is all about. You have to choose and select your niche area of interest. I do not know how you will do that, or probably, speak to your immediate family members, because as in the case of Tashvita, the support system, the ecosystem of the family is essential. It supports you to such an extent that you can achieve goals which were hitherto impossible for you to even think about it. So from that perspective, I think what you need to do is have a discussion with your immediate family members. What are the aspirations that you have in you? What are your interest areas, focus areas which you'd like to develop? Having said that, getting into a minimum qualification of a class 12th or a graduation is not a big deal, believe me. Getting a graduation qualification is not a big deal at all. But what is important, what is a big deal, is getting that qualification in that area that you would like to work in. Now, when I was in Delhi University way back in the mid 80s, there were many students who did not qualify into the graduation examinations. They used to just somehow get a pass mark. And today, one of them is a brigadier in the army, and he's doing so well. Because after graduation, he suddenly realized that this was the area that he wanted to go to. So I'm not surprised that at this stage you are not very clear as to what you want to do. Having said that, this would be the ideal time that you should start introspecting. Think about what actually you want. You see, after some time, and like all of us, even I speak this to my children also, there comes a time when you are on your own. Your family would not be there to help you out, So I guess that is one of those things that you should also take into consideration. But yes, you are a brave child. There's no doubt about it. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much for that positive note, Pratik sir. Kishan, I have a couple of quick questions that I would like to take up, and then we have to wrap up because we are running out of time. So there is one question from Tanvi Bansal, who wants to know that she's in class 10 and she's taking science in class 11. Will ACCA help in any way?
Yes, as I had mentioned, that obviously if you're a science student, you need to put in some extra efforts to pursue the ACCA qualification at the initial level, because the 3 papers which a commerce student is going to study, you are not going to study them in your curriculum. However, after completing your, say, 12th, then you can decide that where you want to move. So if you can do these 3 papers during your school, you have that flexibility available at GD Goenka school, wherein we'll be able to create this opportunity for you, and you can pursue these 3 papers here only. And then you can move towards doing the rest of the papers based on your choice. You can get into the universities wherein we offer the integrated curriculum, or maybe you can do it parallelly with the rest of the qualification that you want to pursue. So ACCA will help you in your career for sure.
Right. Kishan, I have a very interesting question. I think this is the right question to end the show. So 2 questions associated with this. One is that the student has not given the name. He wants to know, in case I take up ACCA, I complete, just like Tashvita, I complete all the papers by the time I complete my class 12. So I would complete ACCA by the age of 17 or 18. So what are the job opportunities that I have? Will I get employed if I complete ACCA by the age of 17 or 18?
Definitely, yes. You can look forward to getting employed. There are organizations who are ready to hire people at this age also. So I'm not saying
I suppose, Kishan, here we can talk about that Grant Thornton example also, which is
correct.
Somebody who was employed.
In fact, so as Ren mentioned about it, that Jatin joined the organization at the age of 18 after completing his first 3 papers only, and rest of the qualification he completed while working with the organization. In fact, I can tell you that as Tashvita has done it at 17 or 18, there are a lot of people who do it by 19 or 20 practically. And then they not only pursue the rest of the qualification while working, because they complete a certain set of papers and then go and join an organization like KPMG, Ernst & Young, or say PricewaterhouseCoopers, or the other organizations wherein a career is being offered to them. And then what they can do is that they can parallelly, side by side, while working only, pursue the rest of the ACCA qualification. So that comes as an opportunity there. So age group should not be a challenge, so don't worry about that. As younger you are, organizations are more than happy to hire you, because now they also have a tagline, catch them young, right? So they would like to hire you at a younger age, definitely, for sure.
Right. Great, Kishan. So just because we are talking on this employment opportunity and we are talking about job opportunities, so can you just tell us how much can we expect after completing ACCA? If you are taking up a job, what is the kind of pay package that we can expect?
Okay, so one thing is there that we should not be looking at the pay package particularly, because pay packages are going to change. Today, they are going to start the qualification right now. When they complete the qualification, by that time the pay packages would have gone up. Actually, what we see is that in the last 3-4 years and 5 years of operations in India, we have seen every year the packages going up by around 20-25%. Right, so that's the kind of increase which is there. In fact, the job descriptions are also evolving. The job descriptions are changing for people. They are getting much better jobs, much better profiles to look forward to. So if I talk about the current scenario, people who have completed 9 papers of ACCA, part qualified, they normally get somewhere between 4.5 to 5.5 lakhs. Plus, in case they join KPMG or Ernst & Young, etc., they sponsor the rest of the qualification for them. So that also comes as a perk for them further to that. Somebody who has completed the full qualification like Tashvita has done, then people can expect on an average a package of around 8.14 lakhs.
Oh, great.
That's as per the last study that we have done for the salaries for the ACCA qualified professionals. This is going to change, and in fact, the salaries are much more higher outside. One good thing is that when your salary is higher outside, your expenses are also higher accordingly. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Kishan, I think that is a right note to sum up this meeting. So for the audience here, I would like to mention that we'll be showing you the feedback link now, which once you give the feedback, you'll be eligible for the certificate of participation. Sujay sir, can I request you to kindly sum up?
Good evening, all. As all good things come to an end in life, so has this webinar. It's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of GD Goenka Public School, Siliguri. On behalf of the school, I would like to express our gratitude to honorable guests who have spared their valuable time for our students and have shared their views with us. Thank you, honorable guests. Thank you, Mr. Muralidharan, for moderating this session so well.
Thank you.
A warm thanks goes to our Director Principal, Sonika Sharma ma'am, Vice Principal, Parinata Tamam ma'am, for providing this platform to us. Thank you, ma'am, for refining our students' talent. A special thanks to IT department, commerce faculty, the secondary section leaders for their active support and coordination. Our heartfelt thanks to our students for their active participation and all other viewers for your patience. Thank you all for making this session a huge success. Jai Hind to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Please do remember to give your feedback. Your certificate of participation will be sent on your email that you'll be providing at the time of giving the feedback. So only those giving the feedback will get the certificate of participation. And we will also try to send you the link to the recording of this show so that you can watch it in case you have any doubts regarding this. Any questions? Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Right.